What is up, everyone? How you guys all doing on today's beautiful Thursday? I have a special guest, Mr. Robert Russo, and it's so funny because literally not last week, 2 weeks ago, uh
Mhm.
we did a live of you landing your first clients, and within from the first week to literally these couple of weeks, man, you landed two more, which is crazy, right? So I'm excited to hear about this, and yeah, man, how do you feel about this?
I'm feeling great. Yeah, it's been a crazy last couple of weeks here in terms of being able to land the two additional clients on top of the first one that I did. In
Yeah,
fact, of course, secure. So it's been a great, past few weeks here, and it's been exciting times for sure as well.
yeah, man, it's crazy. And again, like you did this within connecting with business owners through Facebook, right?
Yes.
So like you didn't go
Hmm.
on LinkedIn, you didn't go on Instagram. Like this was all from a Facebook group where you
Right.
connected with them, messaged them, you booked them onto a call, they
Hmm.
jumped onto a call with you and paid you.
Yes, it was actually from the one Facebook group itself too. I
One
got
Facebook.
the three out of the one Facebook group that I was kind of focusing on and doing all my prospecting through. So yeah,
Yeah,
it was
which is
even more
crazy.
unique. Yeah.
1000%. I was thinking about this before, like you before I sent you the live to join. I was like, man, it's so unbelievable to think like when because you enrolled into the program about 2 3 3 months ago, right?
Hmm.
And I know we spoke about this in the last interview where you were doing the process. You were like, hey, what's going on, what's going on, not necessarily what's
Yeah.
going on, but it,
Hmm.
it we need to trust the process a little bit more. And then
Right.
boom, out of nowhere, you just landed three paying clients within 20 days, which is crazy.
Hmm.
To me,
Yeah.
that's crazy. And again, like you don't even know these people. These are people that you've never met before, people
Right.
that you met in one Facebook group, and
Hmm.
it's mind blowing to see what can happen with one patience, one dedication, and trusting the process.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, I was kind of getting a bit, I guess frustrated would be a lack of a better word, but I was basically getting to a point where I really wanted to see things starting to happen and come to fruition. And then it kind of all happened at once, even though it felt like it was relatively overnight. It really wasn't because there was so much other work in the background that went into landing these other two clients on top of the first one that I did get. So
One thousand
it's pretty
percent.
crazy to see things come full circle upon all the outreach, the content creation, creating samples, sharing samples, doing live trainings. It's great to finally see things come full circle from all the background work that went into it.
One
It's
thousand percent.
relieving. Yeah.
And I was even thinking because I remember we had the conversation as well where you were like, Nick, I have another person who wants to join my copywriting services, but I don't want to handle too many clients.
Right. Yeah.
That's such a good problem to be in.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's
Yeah.
so funny because I'm like,
Mhm.
like you're getting so many people saying, I want to,
Yeah.
join your services, I want to do XYZ, and you're like, I have so many clients, like, hold
Right.
on. That's
Yeah. It
so
was kind of
funny.
like opposite of how things were going before, where the problem got reversed.
Yeah.
I was kind of having trouble kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and then the opposite happened where I kind of had too much on my plate, which is a great problem to have, like you said as well.
Great problem to have, man. For sure, for sure. Well, kind of explain, a little bit about who you are, your journey, how you started your yeah, what really interests you with copywriting. This way everybody can see. We have Ethan, we have I see David, Richard's watching as well. But yeah, explain who you are though, Rob.
Awesome. Yeah, so my name is Robert. I'm from Michigan and I was working a corporate job. I still am actually, and I was looking for a way to basically supplement my current income with a side hustle. I started doing more research about, remote-based jobs I could do with just my laptop. And initially I came across Facebook ads, running Facebook ads as a ad manager basically and offering that as a service. And upon getting started in that initially, I basically realized rather quickly that you have to have a lot of money built up as capital to basically test your ads and test your work on Facebook ads that you'd be basically paying for. So I wanted to find something that really didn't have a steep barrier to entry in terms of, me shelling out money to basically get involved in a side hustle. And I came across another facet of marketing and advertising, which is, of course, copywriting. So I spent some time on YouTube basically trying to learn the craft, and I felt like I got to a point where I I knew enough of basic knowledge to be able to do the work. So I signed up on Upwork and Fiverr, and I got some clients through there for a little while. I think it was probably about 3 months stretch of having some clients on both the platforms, but I probably only made a total of about 100, $120 in the whole time that I was on the platforms. So I kind of got to a point where I really, really wanted to find a better alternative to basically branch out on my own and try and find clients that could, pay me what I feel like I was worth, and find a way to help improve my skill set aside from, just YouTube. And that's basically how you and I ended up connecting. Yeah.
For sure. Love that, man. And what do you feel like was the biggest challenge for you prior to joining the program?
I would say it was basically just getting clients, even having conversations with prospects. I mean, I had, of course, people that I had as my customers on these third-party platforms like Fiverr and Upwork, but it just wasn't paying anywhere near enough for it to be considered a side hustle. And not only that, but I really didn't feel like I had a very strong sense of a skill set with copywriting. I mean, I did a bunch of YouTube videos, but each YouTube video basically had their own way and own formula and own structure of how you should be writing copy. So I never really felt like I had a firm grasp on how I should tackle writing an email, a sales letter, a VSL, so on and so forth. Everyone kind of just gave different opinions, and I kind of just formed it all into one.
Yeah, yeah,
So it was really from a skill set standpoint where I didn't feel confident enough in my ability. Plus, I didn't really know how to even go about talking to a prospect, let alone getting a client onboarded.
for sure. And I think that's a masterpiece that you brought up as well. And when you say talking to the prospect, you mean more like the
Mhm.
sales process of jumping onto a call and closing
Yeah.
the deal.
Yeah, I didn't really even have a medium or a way to really even get the person to talk to me. I mean, I was sending cold emails every day,
Yeah.
and I don't even think that anyone even looked at one of my emails, let alone wanted to even send me an email back and talk to me through email or even want to set up a call. I don't think I was getting any kind of, two-way street type of communication going on at all. I don't even think they even knew who I was, let alone open my emails. So,
Yeah, I think and again, like with cold emails, like it's definitely it can be an option, but
mhm.
I know one thing that you even brought up as well. It's like, yeah, we can send the cold emails, but understand sometimes a lot of the emails, it's one, it can go into spam, and on
Right.
top of that as well, there's no two-way conversation where you're not even able to see if the person can even look at
Yeah.
the
Right.
email.
Yeah, they
Right?
could have thought I was a bot for all they know. They don't know if I'm a real
Yeah,
person behind that email at all.
for sure, for sure. Now, what made you really join this specific program, really compared to any other program in when it comes to the skill set? Because I know that was something that you were looking to improve on,
Hmm.
and really understanding the client acquisition side.
Yeah, so when we initially connected, I felt you were very, very genuine and you were offering me, free tips, advice, and tricks as far as how I should go about perfecting my craft. And I actually applied a little bit of the knowledge you gave me for free up front. And I basically did see things coming full circle slowly in terms of me feeling more confident,
Mm,
in my skills just based on the small tidbits of advice you gave me. So I really resonated with you, from that point forward because I really felt you were genuine. You really wanted to help me, and you weren't really expecting anything in return. You just wanted to help me along my journey. And it just so happened to be that I really wanted to find someone who could help me, propel myself into that copywriting profession and help myself feel more, more readily available to offer my services. So I kind of felt like it was a no-brainer, honestly, when I did meet you, and I felt like we connected, and I really saw a light at the end of the tunnel in terms of me being able to finally feel like I'm a professional at what I do with the copywriting services. And then, of course, being able to really have that confidence with someone else there, being able to help walk me through getting my first client and getting the acquisition part down. And then plus, of course, the testimonials were great too. When I spoke to Taranica, and I think it may have been Keely in terms of me outreaching to them and basically getting an idea of what the program was like and working with you. And
I
they had
remember
nothing but
that.
great things to say about you too.
I
So,
remember that. That was I was like I remember during the call, of course. I was like, yeah,
mhm,
you can connect with a few people. Veronica, you connect with
yeah.
Kiki. But no, that's it's crazy to see what can happen when you just take the leap, right?
Hmm.
again,
Mhm.
because I know for even me, like I've invested into $5,000 programs before. It's a scary thing.
Mhm.
Trust me, it's scary.
Right.
But the best thing that I'm a huge advocate of is knowing deep down in your gut if you personally um will want to do this, like if you're serious about this. And I remember from our first call, like you were serious about this. You're like, Nick, I'm ready to do this. I
Yeah.
think if you come from a place of, one, like I'm 100% determined to making this happen,
Mhm.
even if it's a little bit of a scary, because again, you just never you're uncertain on what's going to be the end result after you
Mhm.
invest into something.
Right.
I think the best thing is to trust that gut and really knowing that, hey, no matter what, I'm going to go into this, I'm going to really dial in and stay focused with this. And really, that's what I see within you, right?
Yeah.
Of
Mhm.
from the first time we had our call, right, to you joining the program, you just staying consistent with the process. And of course, right, like there have been challenges, and again, we could even talk about that as well, where
Mhm.
like people are
Yeah.
probably seeing you, they're like, Rob, you landed paying clients in 20 days. How did you do it? But people
Mhm.
don't know what Rob was going through
Right.
before that,
Right.
of the challenges, the things where he was doing the messaging, he was doing the content, he was following everything, but the
Mhm.
results weren't happening instantly.
Right.
And I want you to talk about that because I think that's really inspiring for a lot of people,
Mhm.
where a lot of people see like, oh my gosh, this person did so much things, they landed 3 paying clients in 20 days. How exactly do I do that? But people don't know, they don't see the back end, they don't
Right.
see the
Right.
uncertainty, they don't see
Mhm.
the challenges that were happening, they don't see
Right.
the days where you didn't feel like showing up, but you put your
Mhm.
head down and you continue showing up. They don't see that. So talk a
Right.
little bit more about that, Rob, because I think that's
Yeah.
very powerful.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like the iceberg concept where you kind of just see surface level, the success and where people are at right now, but you don't see anything else underneath the water of the iceberg, that well, all the sacrifice, the time investment,
Yeah,
the rejection,
talk
the
about that.
inability to kind of get people to respond, so on and so forth. So with my clients that I have now, I remember the most recent one that I did onboard. She was someone who I sent a Loom critique to, basically
You
critiquing
sent a
something
critique
from her
too.
website.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I was basically helping her with critiquing her headline on one of her landing pages of her website, just basically helping offer some free value that she could kind of take and apply to her own business. And she read the message, but she didn't respond. And I could have just called it quits from there and just not even bothered to do a follow up and just kind of cut my losses and feel like I just kind of didn't get anywhere with that prospect. But I did decide to send her another message as well, basically just following up and saying,
Crazy, bro.
hey, did you enjoy the Loom critique? I'd love to at least, walk you through what my thought process was behind that and give you some more insight and help you out with your business.
Crazy.
Would you be open to booking a free call where I could even show you a free sample as well that I could, share with you live or even send over to you as well, just so we can go more in depth versus what I just showed you on a 1 2 minute clip of a critique. And then of course she was open to having that free call. And then from beyond that point, we were off to the races with getting her
Yeah.
onboarded and helping her out with her business and copywriting.
And you
So
close. Yeah.
it's a lot about, persistence, honestly. If you feel like you may be running into a wall with a prospect, I mean, most sales don't even happen on the first outreach anyway. It could be five, six, seven, eight, maybe even 10 times of an interaction that occurs back and forth before they finally do want to book that call or move forward with you. So it's not always like sunshine and rainbows in terms of where you may be now. It's a lot about what goes in behind the scenes and all the legwork that it may take to get to where you are right now.
Love
So,
that. Love that.
mhm.
And you close this person for, was it $500?
This most
So
recent client,
yeah,
it was going to be, yes, $500, and we're paying in two different installments. So yes,
gotcha.
it's $500 total.
Yeah,
Hmm.
$500 deal. And
Yep.
again, like the reason why I bring that up, it's like, imagine if you went into the mindset of like, yeah, I'm gonna send this Loom video, right? And like the Loom video is probably, you probably followed the script, you probably did everything,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And the person looked at your message and you were like, you know what, I'm just gonna focus on somebody else,
Yeah.
and you didn't
Right.
even follow up with that person. Like this $500 deal that you just closed would have never happened.
Yeah. Exactly.
And the
Yeah.
reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of people that I personally see is they give up too early.
Hmm.
They give up too early, and it goes back to Napoleon Hill's line: "You're always 3 feet away from gold." A lot of
Yeah.
people are always 3 feet away from gold. You just never
Hmm.
know what's gonna happen when you send that next message. You never know what's gonna happen when you
Hmm.
post that one content. You never know what's gonna happen when you follow up from a freaking Loom video,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's
right?
like
You
the
just
radar
never know.
screen concept too. You can see
Yeah,
what's going on right in front of you, but you have no idea what's going on behind the like intermediate radius of your radar. Like things could be on their way to you and you just
yeah,
don't even know. We just have to keep putting in that effort each day and keep being persistent and knowing your worth and just basically going out there to get it really, It's just
yeah.
a lot about showing up every day, like you said. There's going to be ups and downs and challenges along the way, but you just can't give up. I mean, like you said too, if I didn't send that follow up, I never would have gotten this deal, and that's just the reality of it. It's the truth.
1,000%, 1,000%. And I'm curious to see because I know you said that you used a little bit of the free advice. So which part was it? I never asked this like on our personal one-on-one calls. But
Mhm.
I'm curious to see like what personal advice did you use? And that you saw like fruitation, a little bit of fruitation with like a little bit of results coming in.
Oh, in terms of the Loom critique, I'm sorry.
So in terms of before you enrolled into the program, you said that
Oh,
you used a little bit of the free advice that I gave to you.
yeah. Okay. Yes, it was a matter of, well, we did first connect initially, and you were basically asking me, what kind of challenges I'm kind of facing, what my
Yeah.
business is like, and what I'm kind of doing right now, and that's where we kind of went into more detail about what I was currently doing with using Fiverr and Upwork. And I basically helped to basically walk you through what my process looked like, how I was interacting with clients, and what I was doing in terms of my, outreach outside of the platform. And you basically did offer the fact that you basically can't just focus in on one method of outreach, which was my email, because I didn't really have a presence or a social platform behind it as well. It kind of goes back to the fact of the matter of if I'm sending emails with my name at the bottom as a signature, like no one really knows who I am. So you were basically helping to tell me that there's better outreach methods than just using email, even though email is not a bad idea.
Yeah.
You have your Facebook method, the hybrid referral system, where we are actually creating a curated Facebook profile that basically helps to show who we are, what we do, and helps to build trust. And that
Yeah.
was the one thing that I was really lacking the ability to do. So I took your advice in the regards to that, medium, and basically I wanted to obtain some help with building that profile too. I mean, you did tell me what needs to be done, but I also wanted to have someone in my corner to basically help me to craft that profile, and that's what you helped me do
Nice. And
exactly with setting up my photo, my profile bio, the cover photo, and it basically helped to establish that trust with clients and prospects when they saw that I was a real person and that I am putting myself out there and building a brand at the end of the day too.
yeah, because
I
that's
really,
all.
I really lacked an identity, honestly, and you helped me realize that too.
Yeah, because that's ultimately what the Facebook profile is ultimately about. Like
Mm-hmm.
we want to build a audience and a brand for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, yes, can we do the cold emails? Of course. Like, cold emails is definitely an option, right? Like, it's been able to work. But I think in today's day and age, we're in the game of attention. We're in the game of attention. Now, what does that mean? What that means is the person who's gonna get the most attention is probably the person who has a bit of a brand, somebody
Mm-hmm.
who people are aware of. And with the profile, the beauty of it is that when somebody accepts your friend request,
Mm-hmm.
majority of people naturally go onto the person's profile to see who exactly this person is.
Right.
And what that banner photo does, it tells people, hey, Rob is a copywriter. Hey, XYZ is a copywriter. Here's exactly who he helps. Here's exactly his the result he provides. He increases people's sales. And then they go through your content, they're seeing your testimonials, they're seeing all these things, and you're building that credibility and trust. And again, you're doing it without even having to put any effort into it because they're naturally doing it themselves while you're maybe just messaging, doing XYZ, but you're naturally building up that audience and building up that credibility, which is
Mhm.
why I always recommend the profile
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
it has a you're able to put your banner photo, you're able to put exactly what you do, who you help, and then the content nurtures people. Because if you think about it, the way for somebody to invest into you, like for you, Rob, if I were to ask you, like you had to ultimately build trust with me for you to be like, Nick is an actual real person. Let me see if I can join this program. Right?
Yeah.
You had to build trust with me,
Right.
ultimately,
Yeah,
right?
and you're and like looking at your profile too helped establish that trust as well, where I saw you had testimonials, you had people that were interacting with you, you had people that were vouching for you, people that loved working with you and for you. I mean, it's about having to have that brand built up and having, a real credibility behind it too. And that's the one thing that I really enjoyed with your profile when I did see it as well. I mean, you had
Yeah.
plenty of people, you had interviews even posted of your other copywriters as well, which I love seeing too. So,
Exactly. And that's ultimately what we're doing with the Facebook profile, which is exactly what you're building as well. Right.
mhm.
So the ultimate goal with the profile, it builds trust, it builds credibility, it builds social proof, which is
Yeah,
ultimately the game
right.
of what we're
Mhm.
doing. Because without trust, without anybody knowing what you're doing, I'm telling you,
Mhm.
it's gonna be 10 times harder to get somebody to pay you, whether it be $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, especially if you're trying to get to that high ticket realm, which we're all trying to get to.
Yeah.
The ultimate game is trust, credibility. If you don't build
Mhm.
that up from the beginning, from the foundational piece, it's gonna be 10 times harder to build it up as you're growing, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I'm very big on, again, a master is a master of the basics. Let's focus on the basics. Let's get the foundation situated. Let's get that profile running. Let's get that cover photo rolling. And let's start building up a little bit of credibility day in and day out. And then over time, that
Mhm.
credibility is going to lead to higher level paying clients, which is the objective and the end goal.
Yep. I've actually had some of these clients, actually 2 of the 3 clients that I have right now, 2 of them did say when they joined the call, "I'm glad to see that you're actually a real person." So it definitely holds truth behind the
Yeah,
credibility side of
for
things
sure.
too. I mean, I could be anybody behind the computer screen if I'm trying to outreach through email, but I'm sure that they saw some of my trainings that I've done live on my wall and me posting content and me, having a nice photograph up of myself as well that shows them a real person that kind of prompted them and led them to wanting to book that call anyway. But if I'd
Exactly.
stayed with doing just email, I would still be in the place that I was before I met you, which was not anywhere at all in terms of having a business built. And you helped me realize what I was missing and also helped me not only realize that I was missing that piece, but also helped me to get to establishing, that missing piece of the puzzle as well, which was great. You walked me through, you step by step, we built the profile and we had a game plan behind how I would curate that profile to be fit towards prospects, and that's what we did.
Love that. I love that. And I want to hear like how did this new client that enrolled for the $500 deal. This was the biggest that you've ever received so far as a copywriter. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Talk a
Mhm,
little bit more about that, man. I think that's really inspiring, especially for like a lot of the beginner copywriters inside this community. Because
mhm.
like when they hear $500, like oh my gosh, right? But I want to hear like how'd you feel when you got that invoice? And I know it was broken down into two, but
Yeah,
you ultimately closed a $500 deal, right? That's
yeah.
that's that's basically what it is. But yeah, tell everybody how you felt about that, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was really
Inspiring.
exciting and really surreal, honestly, too, because I always dreamt about being able to have someone accept an invoice of that amount before, but I never
Crazy,
really
man.
thought that the day would come so quick too, in terms of me just, being in the business not too long and having the relationship built up with you for not too long so far. But yeah, I gave free value. We booked a call together. We kind of walked through what her pain points were in her business, what she needed help with, and then from there on, I helped to craft my offer to her and help her understand that I knew what her problem was and I had a solution for it as well, from my copywriting. And then from that point on, she was really excited about, being able to work together. And she was even just excited about being able to get the business relationship started as well. So she was just as happy as I was about the $500, I think.
I love it, man. I love
Yeah.
it. And again, like you've cracked the code. Like I'm very big on once you crack the code to getting a client to pay you 500, whether it be in payments or two, like that doesn't really matter. But
Mhm.
you crack the code to get somebody to pay you $500. Like that's a massive milestone. A massive milestone for a lot of people, especially when they're just starting out. That is a massive milestone.
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah.
think the one of the biggest things, like a lot of people, like when they're first starting out, they hearing all these information like, yeah, I gotta start charging my services at $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. And
Hmm.
yes, there's definitely nothing wrong with that. But I'm a huge advocate of the fact that, one, if you don't personally believe that you can actually do that, don't ever charge your services that much.
Yeah.
And on top of that as well, like I'm very big on building your credibility first and getting the foundations. Let's start getting you paid something. So I
Yeah.
recommend
Hmm.
the $300, $400, $500. Get you paid something. You get testimonials, you get
Hmm.
paid, and now you're just leveling up your confidence, and you're now increasing and increasing and increasing. And for you, Rob, now you crack the code of $500. Personally, what I suggest, the lowest that you can go now is $500.
Yeah.
We can't go lower than the 500 now. You
Right.
cracked the code.
Right. Yeah, then I remember the first
Yeah,
client that I had onboarded, I had let him know that it was going to be $100 charge for the 1 month.
yeah,
And then when I finally did cite to this third client that my charges were going to be $500, I just said the $500 and just didn't say another word
straight.
and waited. And then she agreed to it, and I was just so
Yeah,
ecstatic. And it was a milestone, like you said too.
man, I love
Just
that.
being able to have someone finally agree to that milestone threshold of what my services were charges were going to be. It was so surreal hearing them agree to it,
Yeah,
even though of course I felt confident in my services and my copywriting. I hadn't reached that tip of the iceberg yet where I've actually sold my services at that high of a ticket. So
yeah,
it was extremely surreal and exciting when she agreed to do it.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And yeah, man, it's all about just breaking the barriers, right? You broke the barrier for the
Mhm.
$500. Now we're just gonna increase and increase and increase, man. And again, I'm even thinking about it too because it's unbelievable to think that you're now you like it was so funny to me when you messaged me this. We were like, I'm having somebody else telling me that they want to book another call. Like I know we spoke about this before, but it's still crazy to me that you had somebody else asking to hear more about your services, and you even referred them to somebody else inside the family, inside the
Mhm.
MC family, which
Yeah.
is like that's a beautiful problem.
Yeah.
That
Definitely.
is a great problem to have,
Right.
where you have another person saying like, "Hey, I want to invest into your services," and you're like, "I can't. I have so many clients. Let me,
Yeah.
invest. Let me refer them to somebody else that one of the family members inside the community, right?"
Mhm.
So, man, that's great. That's great. And break it down with everybody as well. What do you feel like was really that number one thing, um, that you feel like was really impactful for you, inside the program that really helped you out, and why was it so effective?
I would say it would be the modules, honestly, because I really thought up to meeting you that I really had a strong and firm grasp and handle on my skill set. And I basically did all of my learning and all my skill developing through YouTube. But like I mentioned too, everyone kind of has their own way of doing copywriting, at least on the YouTube tutorials, and they never go in enough depth to really have you leaving yourself with feeling like you're adept to really go on your own. And I didn't re and with YouTube too, you don't have that one-on-one interaction where I can't really ask YouTube a precise and specific question and get an answer, right? So that was the one thing that I was really missing. I mean, I couldn't just message any of these YouTube gurus and get a response back. I don't even think you can even message people on YouTube.
I don't think you
So
can. You can only leave
so
comments.
yeah, that was the one thing that I was really missing. Not only do you go in depth with modules that have different skill sets and different templates we can follow to craft precise and direct formulas of how we should be writing our copy, but if I have a question, you're available 24/7. I can just go ahead and shoot it over to you via voice note or via, text on Messenger. Even I have your personal line too, like all the other members do as well. And that's the one thing I was really lacking, and that's the one thing I think I've gained a huge amount of value from with being in your program is having that one-on-one open door policy with you all the time to get any kind of question or any kind of critique answered.
Love that. Love that. And talk a little bit more about that personalized one-on-one, because I know why. I personally know why that's important.
Yeah.
Having somebody keeping you accountable,
Yeah.
and having somebody behind your back at all times, no matter
Mhm.
what challenges you go through.
Mhm.
But talk a little bit more about that, about having somebody by your side as you're going along your journey.
Yeah, it's basically like a mastermind, not only with yourself, but also with the community. I can not only ask you a question or ask you for advice, but I can also ask the entire community that. And that was the one thing I was lacking is really having a mastermind, like Napoleon Hill says, is so important to success.
For
And
sure.
If I didn't have that, I would just be so stressed out and overwhelmed, which is what I was feeling like before I met you, right? I had all these questions, all this uncertainty, and I wasn't really feeling confident in what I was doing, but I couldn't really get someone to help me obtain that confidence and obtain those answers and get those questions resolved. I just didn't know where to look, where to go. I mean, I could post things on Reddit, but no one on the other side was really someone who considered themselves to be a coach, a mentor, or even a professional. So I really lacked that one-on-one correspondence and the one-on-one advice and just the help from other people that were on the same journey as me, most importantly.
Love that. And I think one thing too, about the concept of that one on one, right? Like I know you and I have had like personalized one on one calls, whether it be of course in the weekly group coaching calls,
Mhm,
but talk more about those one on one calls. 'Cause I know you and I have had
mhm.
a fairly good amount when
Yeah,
things were going through, and talk a little bit more about how that helped with giving you clarity, because I think that's a massive, massive piece, clarity.
mhm,
Because of course, trying to figure it out all by yourself, like there's definitely nothing wrong with doing that.
mhm.
But I think it can definitely be overwhelming, and you may have to pay a lot of time trying to figure it out by yourself. So
Right.
talk a little bit more about like how that personalized one-on-one calls that we do and still do, really help you to get more clarity with everything.
Yeah, so on those personalized one-on-ones, I'm basically able to interact with you and ask you anything that I have any kind of, uncertainty about or any kind of trouble with in general. And I'm getting one-on-one feedback from someone like yourself who has been there before, which is most important. Like I'm asking someone who has actually been in my shoes before, had the same kind of problems, and actually has a solution from their past experiences as well. Whether it's me trying to follow up with a client or a prospect, I'm not really sure what I should say back to them, or I'm not really sure how I should negotiate a deal. You're there live with me to give me clarity and help me to understand what I should be saying and why I should be saying it that way too. So I can basically help to formulate that and keep that in my memory bank moving forward. Not only you're helping us know what to do, but you're helping us to learn so we become a more well-rounded copywriter and a professional moving forward. So those one-on-ones, you basically can bring anything to the table you have a question or concern about, and you're there to help give us that clarity and that sense of peace behind us leaving that call with finally having the clarity and the know-how of how we should go about tackling our issues. And that's the one thing I just couldn't get anywhere, whether it's having clarity on what to send as my follow-up to a prospect, or how to redirect or how to recraft my email sample if I feel like it's not really has a strong call to action or maybe missing something. You're there to help review it, take a look at it live, and help give me direct feedback. And you're there to help us with basically each and every single part of the business, which is something I just didn't have at all.
And one thing that I definitely want to even say as well, I think one of the biggest reasons why I'm very big on giving that clarity, because of
Mhm,
course, like, my job at the end of the day is to help you to improve your skills, help you to build the business that you're looking to build. But my number one really purpose and mission is to help you become an overall better individual, whether it be entrepreneurial traits that you develop, the character of persistence, the character of patience, the character of consistency. I
mhm,
think that's a massive, massive piece as well. That I heard you brought up as well, where you getting help in overall sense of business, and even you as an individual, as
mhm.
yourself,
Yeah.
which is the biggest thing.
I think
And
the positivity too. You're always very
yeah.
bright, vibrant, and positive, and that kind of helps to. I kind of feel that through the computer screen when I'm talking to you too. So it helps
Yeah.
to take that from you as well and apply it to my own life, not only my business, but just overall. You're just very pleasant to always interact with and talk to, and that's one thing I appreciate too. It's like an open door policy with you, and you're very welcoming. You're very helpful. Even on the weekends, you're there to answer my questions, even if I may feel like I'm bothering you. You're
Never
you're always
bothering
there to
me.
help.
Guys, if you guys, all the clients are listening, you guys are never bothering me on Sunday, Saturday. I love when you guys all message me.
Yeah, I just always feel bad. It's not like you've ever said that I was bothering you, of course, but it's more of like me just feeling bad about even messaging you on the weekend. But you're always there to help. Is the bottom line too, which is what I appreciate.
And then even as well, like even if I'm not there, like the community is there too,
Yeah.
right? So like, cause sometimes like I'm inside my business, I'm doing XYZ, XYZ. And I know for sometimes as well, like I could be busy sometimes, but I think that's the power of what the community does, right? Where if you don't have somebody, of course, like my job is to improve, help you grow in XYZ if you have specific questions. But if I'm not always there, the community is there. And I
Hmm.
think that's one of the most powerful pieces about really having the program itself. Like I could talk about myself and all these things as well, but I think the number one thing that
Hmm.
really makes, everybody grow is the community.
Yeah.
The community, the
Yeah.
community, community, man.
Yeah, because it is a mastermind too. And for those of the people that are listening that don't know what a mastermind is, I mean, we have individuals on the same journey as us. They can share the same, the same insights, the same ideas, the same problem solving. And we're all acting as one mind as we mold ourselves together in the community. And we're all on the same journey. We can share each other's wins for motivation, for extra drive. We're there to help each other answer questions. So if someone else comes across it as well, they can say, oh, hey, Keely or Taronica or Ethan went through the same issue. Here's what they did, vice versa. It's just a great community to be a part of because we're all there to help each other and we're all there to propel ourselves forward in our business. We're all on the same path, so to speak, too.
Love it. Love it. And as a result of everything going inside the program, so the modules, the one-on-one calls, the community aspect as well, what do you feel like has been the number one outcome really for you thus far?
I think the biggest outcome has been instilling confidence in myself with a culmination of the skill set improvement, me improving my sales ability, just being able to be more confident on sales calls, and then just the ability to communicate with other people. I think that's the one part of business that kind of gets overlooked is the ability to build relationships with people too. I think
Mm,
that's a vital component to success in life, just winning friends and influence people, kind of like how Dale Carnegie says. And I think that your program really helped to craft all those things together. And that's the biggest thing that I really took away from it is the skill crafting, the sales ability improvement with my sales skills, and then just being able to build the relationships with people too and be a people person and just, being there for other people and help offering them value up front. I think it's just been a big culmination of many different things that I've been able to take away from the program so far.
and that sales script, because I want to talk a little bit more about that sales side. 'Cause
Mhm.
you have experience in sales. I know before. Like, it wasn't specifically like Zoom. I know it was more
Mhm.
like cold calling. Right? It was cold calling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that script that's inside the program, right? That the sales script that we have for you inside the program, did that help you to close that $500 deal?
It did, yes, because I used the sales script while I was talking to the prospect. I wasn't, reading it line by line while I was
For
trying to
sure.
talk to the
Just a
individual.
framework. Just framework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just more the biggest takeaway from that sales script too is basically to have the client not do all the talking, but have them express their problems more than anything is the biggest takeaway I always get from it. If you're able to get that prospect to really, feel express their pain to you, what problems they're going through, and have them acknowledge it and have it simmer and marinate a little bit, then you can really help them to understand what your solution is and how it can solve that problem at the end of the day too. Because I think at the end of the day, sales is all about problem solving too. I
Boom.
mean, you can't sell a
Boom.
burger to a vegan, is what people say too. So if you don't have a service that can be a puzzle fit for someone's problem, then you can't close them. But thankfully, these people that are getting on sales calls, they obviously have the problem of copywriting in their business already. Whether they don't know how to exactly do copywriting, maybe they don't have the time to do it, or maybe they just don't really know how to set up, an email sequence of 7 or 8 emails, so on and so forth. I think it's a culmination of things that kind of prompt them to want to be able to take action with hiring somebody, and it's all problem solving at the end of the day with the sales script, I think.
1,000%. And one thing too, I think somebody just asked a question. So Sam said, if you're cold calling potential clients, should you pitch on that first call or make them aware you're available? So for you, Sam, so we don't do cold calling. I know I the reason why I brought it up is because I know Rob was cold calling for his before
Mhm.
before as your job you did cold calling like to leads for another business.
Yeah, it was part of one of my early 9 to 5 jobs after college, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so we don't teach them cold calling clients.
Hmm.
But yeah, so as I was breaking down before, um, so I know, yeah, so for sales, right? So I love how you mentioned as well, like sales is all about problem solving. And
Hmm.
another piece to that as well is trust.
Yeah.
Trust, 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 trust. And this is
Hmm.
why I'm a huge advocate of before somebody ever jumps on a sales call with you, how are you getting them to trust you and see exactly what you're about?
Hmm. Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, you can jump on these sales calls and keep booking as much calls as possible. But if you're not getting these people to build trust with you, they're never going to invest
Mhm.
into you,
Right.
right?
I think that Loom critique helped as well because I was actually able to propel
Telling you.
myself onto a live video and they actually saw me and saw me talking and knew that I wasn't just a random person behind a computer screen trying to get them to book a call with me. So I think this
Exactly.
last client really resonated with me just based on the fact they could actually see me on a, even though it was a small, small section of the video, I was doing a live critique of a website, but you could see me visibly at the bottom of the screen on the Loom critique. And
Yeah,
I think that helps to break that barrier and helps to build the trust, like you said too.
yeah, man. I'm telling you, it's
Credibility. Yeah.
credibility, man. Like I'm telling you, if you can't build trust with the prospect, they'll never invest into you. No matter
Mm.
how good your sales skills are, like you can be freaking Jeremy Minor for all I know.
Yeah.
But if nobody can build trust with you,
Yeah.
like you can be number one in sales, right? And
Mhm.
if nobody can build trust with you, right, you can be the best person that can overcome as much objections as possible. Cool, but if they can't build trust with you, I promise you that person is gonna have a very, 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 very difficult time investing into you. And this is why I'm so big. You want to give value before you get them onto a call. You want to
Mhm.
give value, whether that's the Loom process. For
Yeah.
Rob, he critiqued somebody's copy. The person didn't respond back after that. He followed up with them. Boom, he closed a $500 deal. Whether
Yeah.
that be, who can I get for another example? Taronica, right, where she landed her client as well, of sending out a sample, acquire her first client. Zion, right? Zion sending Loom videos, emails, was able to build his business up to 8,000. Like it's crazy to see what can happen when you give value to people. Give value, give value, give value. Because I'm telling you, the value is the thing that's going to help people to move the needle forward and want to learn more about you, see what you're about.
Mhm. It was, I'm sure that other copywriters, maybe in other programs too, they're just taught to strictly outreach and try and get people to jump on a call with you before even really build any kind of interaction and communicate or any kind of communication with them too.
Yeah,
Whereas in your program, we're taught to, build that foundation, build that relationship, talk with them like a real person, and offer them value too, whether it's sending a free sample, giving them a Loom critique,
your
or even,
portfolio, whatever the
yeah,
case may be, right?
right, yeah.
100%. Or even your content too. Like even talk about that as well. Like I know you've done some live trainings
Hmm.
onto your profile. Has that been helpful for you where you're posting
Yes.
the content? Talk about that.
Yes, my first client that I have now, after we had our sales call, he actually went and liked the video as well, the live training. So I think he went through it just for a sake of possibly even building more trust with me and wanting to even see what my process is for my writing. And he was able to actually see a sample of my work through that live training.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he also got some value out of how he could apply that to his own email list as well. So
It's so funny.
yeah, so I think it definitely does help to build that trust because they're actually able to see that you're willing to help others at no cost. And that's what we are here to do as well, for sure.
Yeah.
We want to be able to help others at the end of the day, and that's what we're able to be in a position to do.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the ultimate goal right there. That's the
Hmm.
ultimate goal. And again, like that's why I'm so big on nurturing your audience as you're growing your friends list. Cause again, for you, Rob, like all you did was focus on the four flows. Traffic, you're growing your friends list, you're marketing, so you're posting content, you're messaging, you're giving value in the DMs, you're sending out Loom videos. Third, you're jumping on sales calls, and then
Hmm.
ultimately you're closing deals. And it's crazy to say, like what I just said, it seems so simple to do.
Right.
It sounds so simple because you're like, yeah, all I gotta do is just request people as friends. I gotta post content on my profile. I gotta message some people. I gotta send some Loom videos. I gotta just book calls in the calendar. But talk a little bit more about that. Like, it sounds simple to say, but it's not easy to do.
Right. I mean, the four pillars itself at surface level sound really easy and simple, but you have to also break each pillar down and go into detail as far as what each one represents and all the work that goes into it. Like, for example, the outreach is number one. I mean, at subsurface level, it sounds like it's pretty simple. I just send a couple messages from my phone, from my couch, and people are going to jump on a call with me and want to, pay for my services. But
Crazy.
the outreach, it could be, you can send 20 messages a day and maybe can go on for a whole week where you've sent hundreds of DMs and no one's even responding to you. But that doesn't mean you just stop and give up. I mean, the outreach is continuous too. You can have someone maybe respond as the 101st message you send, and they finally want to move forward with you too.
Yeah.
It just, you don't know when it's going to happen, and you just can't stop the volume that you're able to put out there. Because if you stop, then that's it. You're just not going to be able to get anywhere if you stop. And if you keep going, you could be 3 feet from gold, like you said as well.
For sure.
So yeah, at surface level, it can seem very, very simple, but it's not until you're actually at the ground level doing the work behind each pillar where you actually see everything that goes into it and all the culmination of the work leading up to it finally being a success.
For
Whether
sure.
it is the outreach, the content creation, whether it's written word copy we share on the Facebook, or whether it's a live training or a live critique we post, or even a snippet of statistics or fun facts about copywriting. I mean, all that is to basically just build our own brand and build confidence in ourselves, as well as an audience that feels like they can trust us and we're credible enough for them. So it's a lot more work than it seems when you peel back the layers of the onion, of course.
Yeah, 1000%. And I want you to talk about as well, like even in the DMs, because again, you're messaging a few people, it's simple to do, right? I just gotta
Yeah.
boop, 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 just type a bunch of messages and hope and pray somebody books a call.
Hmm.
But talk about how when things got challenging with the DMs, like what was that one thing that really helped you to get clarity? Was it the one-on-one calls? Was it the modules? Like break that down with everybody.
Yeah, we do have modules that go into the sales process as well, and we also have a DM script, an outreach script, where you basically help us to break down the flow of a conversation from everywhere from the first message we send to the final message that we send where we want to book that call, towards the end of the conversation, I'll call it. So we do have a walkthrough that kind of helps us to be, more comfortable moving forward with the DMs. And we have a script to be followed too. So it's not like I'm going in there blind, not really knowing what to say and what to say when someone finally does respond, and how to get the conversation to flow to the end goal of booking a call. I mean, we have an outline and a script for that, which is awesome. And then let's say if I do kind of run into a roadblock or run into the wall in terms of not having a prospect want to respond or even move forward to booking a call, I can get on a one-on-one with you, and you're able to help look at my messages live, whether I send you a screenshot or we do a screen share, and you can help me craft a new message to them to basically, reignite the conversation, or even,
Done a couple of those.
yeah, or even like help me with
Yeah,
having an audio script I could send to them when we get off our own call too.
for sure.
So you're there to help me basically whenever I get stuck and the conversation just may go dead, you're there to help me revive it essentially too. And I've had plenty of cases too where I've kind of felt dead in the water with my conversation, and you've been there to help reignite that. And I've even gotten one of my clients that way too, where they just didn't respond initially, but I kept being persistent and trying to push the needle forward, and it ended up working out.
Sam asks, so should we maybe aim to build content around ourselves and capabilities? So, Rob, do you want to answer that question on what type of content you
Sure.
can what Sam can create?
Yeah, so the kind of content that I help to provide to my prospects, they're not too much sales based. They're more of just copywriting value. Whether I break down a formula or even break down a superior template formula, for example,
Yeah,
I help my readers understand what that formula is, what the template looks like, and how they can craft their emails to be catered towards that sort of copywriting formula and template itself. Or you can even give tips and tricks about what the unique mechanism is. What is the coach or the business owner's unique product or service, and what do they do differently that could be posed and coined as being something that the other market doesn't have to offer. So it can be a different series of things in terms of value you can really write and offer to other people as your audience list. Basically, I just take things out of my business that I'm doing daily, whether it is me writing a call to action and having my readers in my audience on Facebook understand how to do a call to action and what it should follow, or me just doing a live training of how I type out and write an email. It could be a series of different things that I'm doing on the Facebook wall.
Of that. I know you did a critique, a live critique on your sample piece as well,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like you, so to answer your question, Sam, right? So when it comes to content, like you can talk about your, like we always want to educate people on your knowledge on copywriting because that's ultimately the solution you provide for people. That's
Yeah.
your skill set. So you want to educate people and let people, and that ultimately allows people to view you as an expert and authoritative figure in copy, right?
Hmm.
So it could be content as in, like, for example, unique mechanism, or it could be the big idea, like all the knowledge that you've acquired so far in the skill set of copy. You want to create content on that. Or
Yeah.
you can create content on, like, how I was able to get three sales calls, how I was able to get my client three sales calls from this email. And you
Hmm.
just breaking down step by step how you're able to do that. Like that could be that could be content.
Yeah.
A live training of you breaking down a piece of sample that you've written, a piece of your portfolio, right? So these are different content ideas that we always recommend that you create, because I'm telling you, you get as you grow that audience, you grow that friends list, you just never know who the hell is watching.
Yeah.
Never know who the hell is watching. Who's gonna just keep seeing these posts, keep seeing these posts, keep seeing these posts, and then tip over to the 100 yard line, and then them potentially reaching out to you as well, and you eventually getting them to enroll, right?
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head there too about providing, free value and just giving them copywriting advice, tips, tricks, and just helping them with their business as a whole as a copywriter too. Like I remember making a post about the big four emotions of copywriting,
Yeah.
and some people on my Facebook may have not even known what those were until I made a post about it. And it's new, easy, safe, and big as the big emotions, and I kind of went into further detail as far as why they're all important to have in your copy and what each one essentially means and how you write for it. So
Sure.
it's all about giving value at the end of the day too, like you mentioned, and that's basically what we do on our Facebook posts.
All about the value, man. All about the value. And my next question to you is, um, where do you feel like you would be right now, if we were to rewind back, when we first started our first call, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Hey, Rob, you're gonna get this inside our program. You're gonna get the scripts. You're gonna get the kickoff call. You're gonna get the copy critique. You get everything, and it's X price." And you did not take action that day. Where do you think you would be?
I honestly don't even think I would have a client right now, to be honest with you. I think I would still be doing my email outreach. And the way I was doing my email outreach too, I would just go online and find a supplement, find an email based on that supplement, that business, and send them an email and try to craft a sample for them as well. And it wasn't getting me anywhere. Like I was sending a huge amount of cold emails, and I didn't even get someone to reply, let alone get on a sales call with me for me to be one step closer to getting a client. So that was the only outreach method that I knew of and the only one that I was trying. And I really didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel with that at all. So if I didn't meet you and join your program, I would still be not only lacking a strong skill set in copywriting, but also lacking a client. I definitively know that I would be having a big issue with those two facets for sure.
I hear that, man. And if there's, anyone right now who is, thinking about booking on a call or even thinking about joining the program, uh,
Hmm.
yeah, what exactly would you tell that one person, who's potentially on the fence? They're like, yeah, I like this guy, Nick, or, I see what Nick's doing. I see who he's helped. I see all these things. But something's kind of holding them back from really
Yeah.
taking that next step. What's that one thing that you would tell that person?
The one thing I would say is that, you're never going to regret making a decision to better yourself and to invest in yourself. And that's the one thing that I was always hesitant to do, even in my younger years. And I think that it's a matter of just finally asking for that help that deep down you need, and the help that you're missing to be able to get yourself jump started in your business. So if there's one thing I could tell anyone who's listening to this right now too, it's just to take that leap of faith and to ask for that help and to not have the regret of not investing in yourself at the end of the day as well. And if anyone watching wants to reach out to me as well, they can, contact me at any given time to get, more clarity or more confidence in moving forward with the program itself, whether they have questions they want answers to, or just want to have a greater sense of relief with making the decision. So I think the biggest regret I have is not joining the program sooner, honestly, too. So I don't want other people to have the same regret that I do with not taking that leap of faith and getting that help sooner instead of later.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And for everybody that is listening, Rob, I did pay Rob $10,000 to say every single word he just said. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, man,
Oh, it is, yeah. It is
yeah,
true. It is one thing that I wish I would have done sooner just because I see where it's gotten me now, and I just can only imagine how much farther along I would be if I would have just done it sooner. And that's the truth. Yeah.
yeah, man. And for those of you that do want to book a call, I'm gonna leave my Calendly link down in the comment section. For those of you that do want to book. But yeah, man, I think Rob, it's powerful to see again what can happen when one, you trust the process, you one get accountability because like I said before, doing the four flows, it's simple, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I gotta just post content, or yeah, I gotta just grow my friends list. Like, oh yeah, I gotta just message a few people. Um, but I think the biggest thing though is actually doing the work. And I
Hmm.
think for a lot of people, the reason why they give up is because they don't have somebody keeping them accountable, pushing them when things get challenging. Because telling you, if this was easy, like I always say, if this was easy, everybody would have a copywriting business, everybody would be an entrepreneur. But it's not
Right.
easy. It's
Right.
not. You got to go
Mhm.
through a lot of things, a lot of challenges, a lot of things that happen. Like yesterday, it's funny, I just updated the mindset module, right? And I was telling everybody as well in the group call to watch it, man. Like I just did it yesterday. I just updated it, and there's a lot of golden nuggets inside there. And I want you to watch it. I want to hear your takeaways from it. But it's unbelievable to think what happens though when you show up and you have somebody keeping you accountable. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like even if I were to reflect back on my 3 years as an entrepreneur from 20 years old, like my first mentor at the time, you know, there is a lot of setbacks, challenges that happen, but the thing that kept me moving forward was having somebody that I know had my back.
Mhm.
If things got difficult, when I had questions, when I didn't know exactly where to go in the next step. Having somebody moving me forward was the biggest thing because again, there's either two ways you can ultimately grow time or money. There's two ways you can
Mhm.
pay with growing a
Right.
business. Time,
Right.
trying to figure it out yourself, which is of course a great option, but
Right.
understand with time,
Mhm.
you may have to deal with a lot of setbacks, a lot of
Mhm.
mistakes that may take weeks, months, or even years to ultimately figure out. And for most people
Mhm.
are willing to even wait a few years for them to figure it out,
Yeah.
right? So that's why I
Right.
think personally, for me, I've realized that the best thing you can do is find somebody who already paved the path for you,
Yeah.
follow them, follow their process, follow their steps to a T, and have them moving you as you're going through.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I've been a copywriter for about like 3 or 4 years now, but it was only on those third party platforms like Fiverr and Upwork. And just having someone there for me in my corner to help me craft my skills and help me, to get clients, help me with my outreach. It's the one thing that I was missing, and the one thing that I thought I could pay my in with time without having a mentor or a coach. I was paying with my time, and after 3 to 4 years, I got nowhere. So that's the one regret that I do have. Instead of me paying with my time and trying to take things slow and gradual, I ended up not getting anywhere at all at the end of the day with me going on my own and trying to do things on my own versus me just raising my hand, asking for help and paying for a coach and a mentor in yourself. So
Yeah, man,
it's the one thing I wish I had just done sooner, but I'm glad that I finally took the leap of faith with it.
for sure. And even as well, like even thinking about it too, like when I first started my copywriting journey, I know I think you know this. So when I first started, this was January of 2020. I started
Hmm.
my copywriting journey. I took the courses, I heard going Upwork, and for 4 months as a full-time copywriter, trying to figure it out on my own, just taking courses. I would made only a total of $6 as a full-time copywriter. This is the only thing that I was doing. This is the only stream of income that I was making.
Oh wow.
Only stream I made a total of $6 my first 4 months. And my mentor at the time, sorry about that, guys. That's my alarm for me to read a book. But my mentor at the time, so my public speaking mentor, um, him and I had a Zoom call. It was like he was like, Nick, how's your progress going with your business? And I was like, man, I'm struggling. I only made $6,000 my first 4 months of doing this. He was like, okay, do you remember with the one of the basics of success? And I was like, no, kind of break it down with me again. He was like, remember, the best thing that you can do to be successful in life is find somebody who's been in your shoes before and has the results that you want. He was like, my question to you is, do you have somebody who's been in your shoes before? I was like, no. Do you know anybody who has the results that you want? No. I was like, okay. And that's the reason why you're not growing. You're not
Yeah.
building. You're not getting any
Mhm.
clients because you don't have somebody keeping you accountable, somebody pushing you forward. And when he
Right.
told me that, I was like, holy smokes, he's freaking right.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do
Yeah.
this for the last 4 months. I haven't gotten anything, right?
Hmm.
And I could have, let pride get in front of me, be like, man, I'll try to figure it out. I have enough time in the world. Man, I was only 20 years old. I have enough time in the world.
Yeah.
I live free, right?
Hmm.
But I realized that something needed to change. So that's when I was like, you know what? I need to find somebody. So that's when he was like, Nick, I have a actual personal copywriter who's actually earned up to $20,000 a month inside his business. I'm gonna connect you with him, and you guys can have a call. And I had a call with him. Jumped on onto a call again. I'm a junior in college, everyone, and he told me right that his services were $5,000. Guess how much money I had in my bank account?
Let's see, $5,000.
Yeah,
Did you have 5,000 in the bank account?
I did have 5,000 in the bank account.
Wow. Did you, so you ended up doing it obviously, right?
Yeah,
With that coach?
yeah.
Wow.
So I was saving up a lot of money because I was doing DoorDash at the time. So I saved up a lot of money. So
Jeez.
I
Yeah.
had a decent amount of money in my account.
Mhm.
But he was like, my services are $5,000. I had $5,500 in my account.
Wow.
$5,500 in my account. Roughly about there. It was like
Mhm.
5,500, maybe a little bit more, a little less, but roughly around there.
Yeah.
And when he told me $5,000, I was like, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. And it's
It's a
all
lot of
basically
money.
all of your savings.
Literally. And I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I was reflecting back on the conversation and I was like, man, Dan, my mentor at the time, I was like, he's right. I can try to figure this out on my own and waste a lot of time and potentially give up on my dreams. Because my dream at the end of the day, right, the reason why I started this copyright business was for myself, for my family, for my future children,
Right.
to develop the skills that I need to be able to provide a better life for them.
Hmm.
And I was like, I could figure it out on my own, try to do this thing, but this guy already seems like he knows what he's doing. He already has the business, he has the clients. It would be stupid if I didn't invest into him.
Hmm.
So I made a few reflections. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm telling you, once that 5,000 went into his bank account, literally my stomach just dropped.
There's no going back.
There was no going back, man. This was literally all my basically all my savings went into this individual. There's one individual that I met through my mentor that I
Mhm.
never met a day in my life, and this person
Yeah.
lives in Canada. I am
Yeah.
in New York. I
It's
live
like,
in New York.
yeah, it's like you burn the ships, like that
Yeah,
one metaphor where you're going into war and you have no other option but to win it.
burn the
You
boats.
burn,
Yeah,
yeah, you burn the boats because you know you're not going back. You have no other option,
I have no
right?
other option, man.
Yeah.
Once I made that investment, I was like, man, I have no other option, but I had to make this
You
thing
have to
work.
make it work.
Yeah, I have to make this work. Like this was the only thing I was doing. I wasn't doing DoorDash at the time making any money. This was the only thing that I was doing. And I'm telling you, when my back was against the freaking wall, my back was freaking against the wall, but I made that thing work. I made
Hmm.
that work. And again, the reason why I bring this story up is to show everybody what is possible, right?
Hmm.
So once I put my back against the wall, I made it work. There was, of course, challenges, frustrations, setbacks, but I
Right.
had somebody though. I
Hmm.
had somebody. I
Yeah.
had somebody pushing me. And although the investment was scary, $5,000, are you crazy? That's a lot of money. Like
Yeah.
it's I've seen other people invest like 10,000, 15,000, but as a 20-year-old, $5,000, like even $2,500 is a lot of money. But
Right.
$5,000 a 20-year-old, it's a lot of money. And
Yeah.
invested into it, I was like, you know what? I have no other choice. And I made it work. He showed me the process, exactly what I break down the four flows, the Facebook profile, driving the traffic, posting content, XYZ, XY, XYZ. And then through that was able to build it up to 5K in my first year, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, man, it's unbelievable what happens when you have somebody keeping you accountable
Mhm.
and you just stay dialed in and focused and just keep trusting the process.
Right.
Telling you, I wanted to give up so many times,
Mhm.
so many times. But I know if I gave up, I'm giving up on my children, I'm giving up on my family, I'm giving up on myself. That's gonna be the number one thing that I'm gonna regret for my life. And
Yeah, that's powerful.
I'm telling
Yeah,
you, man.
the regret is too overbearing compared to the opposite potential reality of you actually having your dreams come true. I mean, having that regret of not taking that leap of faith and wanting to take and make the change for yourself and invest in yourself. I mean, the regret is just way larger than what the other outcome could be if you just took the action. And I
Yeah.
think you really hit the nail on the head too about wanting to be in a spot that someone else is in, that you see with the actual results you want to achieve, and you were a $5,000 a month copywriter, and that's where I want to be as well. So having that interaction with you and understanding that's where you were in your business really helped me to want to make that decision so much more effortlessly too with joining your program. So
and
yeah.
and again too, like I know a lot of people here like, oh yeah, you can make your first $10,000 in freaking 6 months. Don't believe that BS.
Hmm.
Don't believe that stuff.
Right.
Like depending on where you're at in your journey, the biggest thing, let's get you your first set of freaking paying clients.
Yeah.
Let's
Right.
get you your first set of, let's make things a freaking reality. Let's
Hmm.
make it a reality.
Yeah.
And then let's just continue building on the foundation, building on the foundation, building on the foundation. If it takes you a year to land your first 5K, like it took me a year to make my first 5K. Like a lot of people expect to be making $5,000 in freaking 30 days. I'm like, holy smokes, bro. You don't even have the entrepreneurial skills yet. Let's build that the frick up.
Yeah.
Like let's build that up first.
Yeah.
Eh, So yeah, and again, like a lot of people come in thinking that they're going to be making this whole lot of money within overnight. Don't believe the BS.
Right.
Don't believe that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Don't
everything is done via steps. You know,
Yeah,
you can't just skip a step and cut around the corner or just cut it short. I mean, you have to build a foundation, and Rome wasn't built in one day either, too. So everything takes time, that everything that's worth it takes time. And that's the one thing that
telling you.
a lot of people want to have results overnight, and they want to have things come to fruition immediately. And it just doesn't work that way in the real world. I mean, you have to take the time and show up every day and build that foundation, and brick by brick, things will finally start to come full circle for you if you just take the daily massive action to get there. It's not
Yeah.
going to be an overnight thing, like you mentioned. Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing right there. That's the biggest thing. So things don't like number one thing that I want everybody to really understand, guys, things don't happen overnight, right? But I am a huge advocate of one, staying consistent, but
Hmm.
telling you, when you have somebody keeping you accountable, your life changes for the better. And that's
Yeah.
something
And you're,
I personally have realized, even hearing from Rob as well in today's interview.
mhm. Yeah, and for those of the people that don't know on the call, can you touch base with us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and just ask us how things are going, what we're doing in our business, what our goals are, if we have achieved our goals, if we need help reaching our goals for the week as well. I mean, you're there to hold us all accountable and give us the corner support to get us to where we want to be with our goals for the week as well. So, I mean, having you there, it just helps us to stay that much more driven, motivated, and determined to make things come to fruition,
Yeah,
because we want to be able to get those wins for you as our coach and our mentor, as well as the rest of the community. We're all a family at the end of the day, and we all want to be able to have the same success that others do. We just want to build each other up and pile some wins up, right?
I love it, man. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it, man. Well, I hope everybody got a lot of value out of today's interview, because man, I think we dropped a lot of fucking gold, man.
Yeah.
A lot of gold, man. A lot of gold today. Um, but yeah, I hope this interview, everyone, inspired you. It showed you what is possible when one, you have the mindset of knowing that no matter what, I'm not giving up. I'm never gonna quit. Number two, I'm gonna find somebody who's gonna keep me accountable when things get challenging, right? And then number three is this concept of trust in the process and trusting yourself,
Right.
trusting yourself, trusting yourself that no matter what happens, no matter what obstacles, because again, if you guys could watch this interview again, Rob was talking about his challenges at the beginning, right? You guys could listen to that because again, you probably see Rob like, yeah, oh my God, Rob, you landed three paying clients in 20 days. Oh my God. But you don't know what you saw before.
Mhm.
You don't know what you saw before. You don't know what you saw before.
Yeah,
And
it really is the iceberg concept where you can see the success at the top, but you don't know what goes into that iceberg underneath the water, the stuff you don't see. So it is very, very true. There's tons of challenges that you're going to encounter, but you have to keep pushing forward. I mean, just like with anything else in life, you're gonna take some losses, have some failures, but you have to just keep moving forward and knowing that it's going to be okay in the end if you just keep showing up every day.
exactly, exactly. And again, we're right now we landed this $500 client, right? Now, next step, do we have a lot more to go, man? We're
Yeah.
literally just getting started.
Yeah.
We're just getting started. We're just getting started. And I'm excited until what 2024 has to build for you, man. And even all the other clients, like I'm seeing Amity, Richard, Ethan. I see Jesse. What's going on, Jesse? I'm seeing everybody else inside the family, showing love down below, and I'm excited for what 2024 has to really deal with you. Everybody that I just mentioned, from Amity, from Richard, from Ethan,
Mm.
Zion, Keely. Yeah, man, it's gonna be an exciting journey. But yeah, let's continue rocking and rolling. But yeah, man, any other last thoughts from you, Rob?
No, nothing else from my end. Like I mentioned before, though, if anyone does want to reach out to me, I have an open door policy with messages. Anyone can feel free to contact me at any given point in time, any day, and I'm always happy to answer questions or even give them a greater sense of comfort with moving forward in the program and finally joining the family too. So anytime, I'm always happy to build a conversation and a relationship with others and just talk in general if you just like to talk too. So
And again, guys, I'm telling you, I paid Rob everything that Rob just said. I paid him $10,000. Literally, I could show it to you. Show
no,
it.
you didn't pay me.
But yeah, man. As always, man, love you as always, my brother.
Love you
Uh,
too.
we're gonna be connecting after this. For everybody else, I hope this training helped you, motivated you, pushed you, and gave you a form of inspiration to let you know what is possible as you grow. All right.
Yeah.
So again, love you as always, my man, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you. Love you too, Nick. Talk to you
All right,
soon.
brother.
Take
Bye bye.
care. All right. Bye-bye.